Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. We just wrapped up my June client trips. We're back at the farm here. I'm trying to make hay with the sunshines, if you will, and it is a hot one. We're in the middle of June, and we're picking away at this chore list that we have, right? This honeydew list, if you will. So great feeling. Farm's coming together great. We're a lot closer to where I want it to be. Never finished, right? But where I want it to be going into this fall compared to what we were, going into last year. So things are coming together. If we can battle the heat, trying to work in the mornings and return emails and phone calls and stuff to clients in the afternoons. So what we've got here today is we're going to talk about the importance of cell cams and kind of some do's and don'ts. Over the years, I've learned a bunch of things right over the years. I'm cut from the cloth, guys, where I started in the industry where we had the first, I always tell everybody, we had the first trail camera from Field and Stream back when I worked at the lodge down in Illinois. And I remember getting that thing and couldn't wait to get it, and it was about the size of my computer now, on a tripod hooked to a 12-volt battery, and 35 millimeter with a flash that would could blind a deer from 100 yards, let alone 20, right? So now looking back at it, how things have changed. But I remember those days, learning quickly what you could get away with a cell cam, and not a cell cam, just a trail camera in general, right at that point. And knowing, I remember telling myself, when we had those, a good friend of mine that managed the lodge with there, telling ourselves, man, this is you got to go in and babysit this thing a lot. The whole object is to stay out. So kind of the hints of the topic today here, guys. One of the things we're going to touch on first is just that, using the trail cameras as a tool, but not getting yourselves in trouble. I think since then, over the years, I've watched it grown myself and grown with clients and through clients, if you will. The carded cameras were great, but it can, and usually does, put a lot more pressure on your property because of this life we live in now, that we want that information at our fingertips, right? Not going in. Before, we had to either hunt it or with the carded cameras years ago when they first come out, I think I was thinking back, I think I'm 12 years into cameras now, or whatever it is, so I've seen just about everything as far as new, good, bad, ugly. But if you have carded cameras, one of the biggest things that I can put emphasis on is treat them as a great tool for yourself, but make sure you're smart about going in and getting those cameras. So here's a couple of tips. One, if you're using just carded cameras, and we're going to talk about the cell camera topic here, if you're just using regular carded cameras, I would recommend going in and pulling those cards as you were going to hunt before the season starts. Now, when the season starts, obviously you just go in and you only pull them when you're hunting that stand, or if it's in a spot where you can drive the ATV, UTV, electric bike up to, not shut the motor off to those vehicles, let the machine run, pull the cards, get out, once every 2 weeks, something like that. But what I find, one of the things I learned, and I've tried to help folks with along the time, is I find is a lot of folks going into, let's say, September, like our season opens here in Kentucky, the first week of September always. And what I find is folks go in and are checking those cameras with the wrong winds. So in other words, you're going into the spots checking the cameras where you wouldn't be going in, even attempting that, to try to access and exit a stand on those winds. We're still going in and pulling cards. So at that point, what does our access really gain us, right? Other than the day we're sneaking in to hunt. I find that's a huge issue, can be a huge issue. So really study that. I try to pull those cards, and this is a perfect idea, right? But none of us really have a lot of these days. I try to pull the cards, on nasty weather days, high winds, rain, something like that, to try to help that. And what I do is after season starts, or just before season starts here in August, I start tuning in on that. This year won't have to as much because of something we'll talk about coming here. But what it is really watching the wind, how you're getting in, how you're getting out of those stands, when you're pulling them. And the information is a complete game changer, right guys? But the pressure can also be a game changer as far as really messing stuff up. So one of the ways to cure it, and I've always wanted to do this since the availability of the cell cams came out, is to go all cellular. Well, that's expensive, and it wasn't until this year, saving pennies and getting the working with the right company at the right time. Last year, you know, before you guys know, I was with Meyer. Meyer is no longer in business. Their cell cameras, I really were okay. Their carded cameras were great. I never had a problem with them for their money, right? But now they're no longer in business, and I think it was kind of a blessing for me, because I found Reveal. The Tactacam, the Reveal by Tactacam, guys, is the answer to the solution. I've tried just about every camera before. I've had clients with just about every camera before, and you know, the link systems that you find out there with those companies that have those link systems are great, because like we talked, it keeps you out of the property, right? You pull one card or you have one cell bill. The problem with those is to watch is because they're daisy chained together. So if one of those cameras in that link goes down, I've had clients, you know, dealing with that, then you have to go in and fix it because you're not getting any other information past that, whatever happened. You know, hopefully it's the last camera, not the second camera on a stand or camera assemblage of 10, let's say, right? So that's why I started focusing on cellular. So this here is the Gen 1, or the first generation of the X, the Reveal by Tactacam, the first X. Had about half of the property on those last year. Half of the stands were with them last year, and you know, kind of as a switch, not a guy to jump right in the latest and greatest thing. I wanted to test them, and guys, I had nothing but great things with them last year. Now, you know, last year working with a gentleman, this year working with Brian with Tactacam, and all the support crew had a problem with one. I over tightened. I didn't know that's what happened. Went to put it up in the tree this year, over tighten the antenna. You can do that. I'll touch on that real quick with you. So just to make sure, you know, you don't over tighten them. But I didn't know, sent it back, and you know, a week later, 10 days later, whatever it is, from the time I shipped it, it's back on its way to me already, you know, guys. So very, very great customer service. They take great care of me, and everybody, all my clients, not just me. It's definitely not a favor thing to somebody that buys more, or outfitters or anything. Is everything across the board from me to my clients, and friends, family, everybody that has them. I've heard nothing but positive things about the customer service. So with that said, this year the entire farm is completely cellular, nothing carded. Is regular standard camera. Now they've got cards in them, right? But standard cameras where we have to go pull the cards. So last year I had really good luck with the lithium batteries. This year I wanted to go, and you can see this is one of the spots right now. The sun is on the panel, but I wanted to go all cellular, and I wanted to aid and help my battery life out with the solar possibility. And that's exactly what I did. So every one of the cameras on the farm this year is cellular. Every one of the cameras on the farm this year has a solar panel attached to it. Huge step, right? So I'm out here today putting these on, and one thing I can tell you is the bracket that's on these, I'll show you on the back side of the solar panel. It's great, but it's definitely not something that you just want to come in when you first are used to them here, because it's taken me, you know, I don't know, 10 minutes each stand. I'm trimming a little, you know, a few branches out or whatever too as I go. Some of these have been in the tree for a week or two here. Got the panels in, got the other cameras in, and now we're finishing everything except our feeder locations, you know, setting everything up. So the bracket, definitely something you want to put on, kind of get familiar with it, take it out in there. I bought the chew resistant, not the chew proof, but the chew resistant heavy duty cables, solar panel cables. And so every one of them, you know, is charged. I charge them. I run about 6 at a time on the charger, and then I'm putting, bringing those out to the farm and putting them up, charging them for 4 or 5 hours at least, and then bringing them up. And the theory is to not have to replace the batteries, right? Or to extend the full life of battery, solar panel, everything, to get us a little bit longer. Even if we gain a month during the season, that's big, right? So I'm starting them now to test and make sure that we don't have anything to tweak or change going into the hunting season. One of the things I can tell you guys is this. One of the topics that I learned, and I don't know if Tactacam really, puts this out or not, but I reached out to a gentleman by the name, I think his name is Mike, with Herd 360, because what I was looking to do is I was looking to put the battery, like a 12-volt battery pack, 12-volt, 12-amp-hour battery in a little pack on the back of them, and then do that so I didn't have to worry about, sunlight and stuff. Well, after talking with Reveal and Herd 360, they have a bigger solar panel that's a little bit more money than these, but I feel they're well worth it after talking to him, after having a couple of people with them that I've seen. They work really well. So if you're looking for something bigger than what Reveal offers, I recommend you get a hold of them at Herd 360 and take a peek at that. But one of the things I learned, guys, with the batteries is this. I think it's a huge deal. The lithium batteries are kind of getting a little tough to find, and the way that things are right now with inflation, they're not cheap, right? And they're not cheap to begin with. I think last year, I probably spent $400 on batteries last year, right? Maybe more, maybe like 500. But what I've learned through them, and after hearing that, I was researching it, is when you hook the solar panel to your camera, so this is the X. I've got the other one that are the X, the Gen 2s now, so we can do video and photo. But with them, what I learned is the battery, if the battery outpowers the solar panel, in other words, if it draws more voltage out of the battery pack than the battery that is supplying it from the panel, it will draw from the source that is giving it the more battery power, which is with 12 lithium AA lithium batteries, is your camera pack, your battery pack in your camera. So it eats the camera first, then hopefully it uses the panel. And there is a lot of truth to that. So that's why I'm doing a little studying. What I did is save the money. I went with just regular batteries this year, alkalines, Duracell, copper top, good, high-end alkaline. But that's what I'm putting in there. And then if I don't get the response, or I think I can extend it a little bit by even having the lithium in first, I'll go back to the Energizer lithiums and put them back in, because I've had good luck with them. So something to watch, right? So if you don't need the higher dollar battery, and if it's going to do things where it draws from the battery, not the camera at first, we want the solar panel to charge. And then if all else fails, something does rip this off, the solar panel gets crushed, no daylight, hits it, no charging, and then the batteries take over. So we don't want the batteries completely drained first, is the whole object. So it's a huge step for us, guys. The one thing for me is, so going back to the first topic, is this: we don't have to come in here and mess with them, right? All the information's coming to the phone. It's $13 for the first camera, $10 for every additional. So with this property and the other property, I mean, a couple other properties that I've got, I'll have cameras on and stuff throughout the year all over the country. I mean, I'm going to have a couple $100 cell phone bill, right? But they're feeding information to me separately, so I don't have to worry about what ifs if one of them drops in a chain or something like that. So I'd highly recommend them. I get this question from clients. Every stand has a camera. I don't put any more, I don't put any less, other than I have every camera, or every stand has a camera on my licking branch. We're here in Hickory Flats right now, and then I've got the cameras on the feeders. So kind of a setup here I'll show you guys, is I'll give you a view from the cameras, view The X is on the tree here. We got, it's all, you know, powered up, running well. We got a little sun. I'm in one of the spots here during the summer. It's going to have a little tough time, I think, with the canopy. But when the canopy leaves, it is faced to the south, and we're going to get some performance out of it. But that's what it looks like, and you can see right here, I've got the licking branch, and I've also got the new water tank that is installed. So this is what Hickory Flats looks like, guys, right up above us. It goes right out the hole here. You'll see mulch trail goes right out. One of the feeders is actually on the end of the food plot up here, and then the food plot runs lengthways with this. This is all doe bedding back over our shoulder, enhanced, even now cut in that stretch, and the stand is in that big maple down there. You can see the ladder, big maple with one of the primal ladder stands in it. So out the end, 75 yards out, is the backside of another doe bedding, and food plot out there, our back 40 plot. So that back 40 plot lays down in there and runs away from us, and then there's another stand on the other end of it down there as well. Huge piece of the property. Had some really good movement last year on it. All of the mature bucks that were on the farm frequented this spot quite a bit. So the reveal by Tactacam, guys, the gen that they make a X. They have their first reveal, then they went to the X. I don't have the first generation of the regular cameras first reveals. I started with the X's, and then now I've got the X and the X 2.0s. Great luck with them. Great camera. There's some tips for you. Get them in early. Start collecting that velvet footage, but don't start the chain of pressure before you even get to the hunting. What we're finding is, like we said, guys, is just because we're running cameras and getting, you know, great pictures of you know, big beautiful bucks and velvet, you got to remember, if you start that chain of pressure going in and getting cameras, you know, maybe that October lull everybody talks about is going to start way ahead of time if you don't treat it kindly with the you know, the pressure going in that October lull, like we taught, guys, is all to do with pressure, and cameras play a big part of that. So on your property, don't let that become a factor. Use it as a very tool, a very great tool in your arsenal. Respect them, respect the area, make sure you're getting in and out, and only check them when such as you would when you're hunting. And I think that'll be a big tool to help everybody out. Throw a licking branch in front of them, mineral station if you can, if you're in a state that can, over a feeder, and enjoy those, you know, HD videos now and HD quality pictures that we can get sent right to our phone. So look forward to bringing you a bunch more stuff here on the farm, guys. Trail camera video going into mid-June, and we'll stay in touch with you. I appreciate everybody's support.